Hello everyone, welcome back to another Android application development tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to create a settings page for your application. So for creating settings page, there is no need to use any view widgets. Instead, you can use the preferences API available in Android framework. So here, a simple example of settings page. So here each settings item is created using objects of preferences class, not by using view widgets. Okay, so on the first video of this preferences tutorial series, I'm going to show you how to create a simple settings page using preferences objects. So here I already create an Android Studio project that contain only one activity, that is the main activity. So from this project I remove the default action bar. Instead of action bar, here I place a toolbar. So I run the project now. So here is the project. So this is the main activity. Here we have the toolbar. Here we have an overflow menu. So here we have some options, menu items are available. So when user select the settings option, we have to display another activity that contain the application settings. So by using preferences API, you can create the settings page in two ways. First option by using a preferences activity, and second option is by using a preference fragment. The recommended way is to using a preference fragment. If you working for Android version 3.0 and lower, you have to use the preferences activity, and if your applications support start from 3.0 and above, you can use preference fragment. So here I'm going to show you how to create the settings page using preferences fragment. Okay, so first I'm going to create another activity for display the application settings. I need an empty activity. I simply name it as settings activity. So now the activity is created. So here the root is a constrained layout. I'll remove that one into linear layout. Specify orientation. First I'm going to add the toolbar. Okay, so now go to settings activity, create variables for toolbar. Now initialize that variable. It is on toolbar. Now set this toolbar as the default action bar. Okay, also I'm going to set some title on the toolbar. So get support action bar dot set title. Here it is, settings. Okay, so when user select the settings menu, we have to start the newly created activity. So open main activity. Here override one method called on options item selected. So here I use some switch case statement to identify the item. Get item ID, action settings. In that case, we are going to start the newly created activity. Settings activity dot plus and return true. In the default it is implement the superclass implementation of this method. Okay, so test that one. Okay, now I select settings. It will go to the settings activity. So now we can create the settings page using Preferences API. So before going to create the Preferences settings layout, I need some string resources. So open strings.xml. So here I'm going to place some string resources. So here I add some string resource called sync preference summary, preference sync connection type dialog title, default value, sync connection type summary, and here I add another two string arrays called sync connection type entries, sync connection type values. So here the entries are Wi-Fi, mobile data, Wi-Fi or mobile data, values also the same. Okay, so now we can create the layout for the settings. So I create a new layout file. I create a new Android resource file. So you can name the layout file in any name as you wish, but probably everyone will name it as preferences. And this is this file need to be in a folder called XML under the resource folder. So change the resource type into XML, and here the root element must be a preference screen. So here there is a new folder is created under a resource folder called XML that contain the settings page called preferences.xml. So if you're using Preferences API, the settings page is created not by using view widgets. Instead, each settings item is created using objects of subclasses of preference class. So here I'm going to add two settings item. First one is a CheckBoxPreference. This is a subclass of preferences class. So now I'm going to specify the attributes for this item. First one is key. I name it as pref_sync. So if you're using the Preferences API, each user settings is saved by using the default shared preferences file associated with each of the application. So here each settings is saved in the form of a key value pair in the shared preferences file. So here key indicate a key in one of the key value pair available in shared preferences. Okay, now we can specify another attribute, title. I name it, I get title from the strings.xml sync preference. Now we can specify summary for the settings. Here it is, sync preference summary. Yes. Okay, now we have to specify the default value for the settings. So here specify the default value into true. So here we have a checkbox preference. This is not a view widgets. Instead, this is an object of Preferences API, preferences class. Okay, so now here I'm going to another settings item is a list. It's a list preference. A list preference will display a dialog when user select it. Here also the same thing. First we have to specify key for it. I name it as preference sync connection type. Okay, so now we have to specify title for it, preference connection title. Okay, now we can specify the entries. Entries means data on the dialog, a list on the dialog. So here we have to get the array. preference connection type values, connection type entries. Now we have to specify the entry values. Okay, now we have to specify the default value. Here, get the default value from the strings.xml sim connection default value. Now we can specify the summary. Okay, so here in the settings page we have two settings item. First one is a checkbox preference and second one is a list preference. Okay, so here we are going to display these settings using preference fragment. So now I'm going to create a class for the preference fragment. I name it as settings fragment. And this fragment need to extend preference fragment. So now we need to connect the layout, settings layout, and to this fragment. For that you have to override the onCreate method. So inside onCreate method you have to call the method called add preference from resource. So r.xml and our layout is preferences. That's it. So now here we successfully create the preference fragment. Okay, now we need to add this preference fragment to the settings activity. So open settings activity. So check that one, check some condition if find the view by id and id. This fragment container, we have to check it out. Layout, activity settings. Yeah, we have to add a container for the fragment. I add a frame layout with the smart parent. Now specify an ID for it. Fragment container. Okay, so now go to settings activity. If it is find view by id r.id, is it is fragment container not equal to null. Now check if saved instance state not equal to null. In that case simply return, otherwise we can load the fragment. So get fragment manager, begin transaction, and r.id.fragment container, new settings fragment, and commit the transaction. Okay, that's it. So now we can test the project. So I run the project. Okay, so now we can open the settings page. Open settings page, and here we have the settings page that contain two settings item. First one is a checkbox preference and second one is a list preference. So if the user select the list preference, it will display a dialog with some items, so the user can select items. Okay, and here if I disable the sync option, we have to disable this one also, because this one, and there is no need of the sync connection type if the user disable sync. That is the next portion. So go to the settings page, preferences.xml. So we have to connect the list preference with the checkbox preference. So you can simply achieve by using the dependency attribute. So Andriod use the dependency. So you have to use the key preferencing. So now the list preference is dependent with the checkbox preference. If the user disable the checkbox, it will disable the list preference also. Okay, we can check it out. So run the project. Open settings. So here I enable it. So when I enable the sync option, it enable the list preference also. When I disable it, it will disable the list preference. So this is how we create a simple settings page using the preferences API. So in the next videos we are going to learn about how to create a settings group, how to read, how to set the default values, how to read the settings, how to listen for the settings change, etc. So for getting more Android tutorial updates, please subscribe this channel now. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.